go onto page 1, double click on page 1. On the lower left of the window, it is written you're working on page 1. No, it is written you're viewing page 1. It's not the same. But in fact, we are also working on page 1. Okay. Try to select any of the text frames. Despite the fact that the text layer is unlocked, you cannot access the text layers, the text frames. That's because they come from the master. Same goes with the numbering. If I unlock the numbering layer, normally I will be able to select, but no, because it comes from the master, I cannot select it. Okay, we'll talk about it later and how to go through that problem, which is not a problem, in fact, just the way things work in InDesign. Okay, double click on a master. Of course, on a master you're able to select all of the items if the layers are unlocked. If I lock numbering, numbering is no longer selectable, of course. Good. So the idea is to make a lot of pages which will be using that master. But I don't want the text to come on every pages. So I will remove the text. But before removing the text, of course, I have to make a paragraph style. Otherwise, all the work we have done here is lost. I have to make a paragraph style for the text to make InDesign remember how I want the text in the document. So you put the cursor, the text cursor anywhere in any paragraph. You go in the type paragraph styles. You see that that text is using the basic paragraph format which comes with any document, but modified. That's why there is a little cross here. And you see the overrides we've done. A lot of things have been done on this text in order to have it better looking. Okay, so you have the cursor in the text. You just go in the paragraph style menu, new paragraph style. You will call it body text because it is the main text in the document. You make sure it's not based on any other style. Of course, it couldn't. There is no other style for text. But later, every time you make a new paragraph style, make sure it is not based on another one. We talked about it earlier. Style parenting. We don't want it here. You may check this option, apply style to selection. That way, the text will produce paragraph style and will be right away using it. Okay, you click on OK, and it worked. There is a new paragraph style for the text. And it, okay. Okay, no problem. Everybody got it? Good. So now, with the text cursor in the text frame, Control A, and it delete. So there is no text anymore. So that's not a problem because everything we've done is described in the paragraph for the body text. We will be able to insert any text in InDesign and make it look like we want by applying that paragraph style. Alors, you should now display the document with normal mode. If you're not already in normal mode viewing. And I'll make the I make the margin of the master, the left margin, go at this position. Okay, so you're working on the master, you go to layout, margins and columns. Here you break the chain, and with the shift key you increase the left margin until it comes out of the title, which is a decorative item. All of the body text will be on this area of the document. Okay. So normally on page 1 is the same. I double click on page 1. Okay. Page 1 inherits all of the characteristics of the master. So when I'm on page 1, I see the margin, and on master, the margin is okay too, like I want. Okay. Is it okay for everyone? Because that's the point. Sometimes the students misses. The students sometimes change the margin on the page 1, not on the master. So they have different margins on the master and page 1. It's on the master we changed the left margin. That's why on page 1 we have the change from the master, which are visible. Margin. Okay, you think you've changed it on the master, but I'm sure it wasn't written here, master. You haven't double-clicked on the master. So you have to Control Z until the margin comes back to its origin, where it was. You have then to double-click on the master, check if it's well written here, master, and then layout, margin and columns, and change left margin. And then you're sure you have changed it on the master and not page 1. That's the mistake. You think you're working on the master because you clicked on the master. But no, you're still working on page 1. You have to double click on the master in order to work on the master. Okay, so the Control Z didn't work. You had to reapply the master to the page by bringing the master onto the page. Then double click on the master, modify the margin, and on the page is the same. So why we have done that, you will understand just now with the following of the course. Because, okay, you will understand. It's not easy to explain now. Okay, on the master, this is what you will do, everyone. With the black arrow, you will bring the borders of the frame just right on the margin. It should stick to it because there is magnetism. Okay, you've done it. Be sure by zooming that you really have the frame on the margin. It's important. Okay. So we've got a wider text frame, and it has room for more than 2 columns. We will put 3 columns. Okay, we go. Having the text frame selected, you do Control B and choose 3 columns. Okay. Don't worry about the numbering which goes at the same place of the text frame. That's nice. That's what I want for the explanation that will come. Okay. Now we will add more pages to the document. Insert pages. You may add 3 pages which will use these pages will use the master here. but that's by default, and we only have one master for the moment, so that's not really complicated. Okay, you have 4 pages with all elements coming from the master, no original elements at all on these pages. The interesting fact about what I'm explaining to you now is that it will allow you to make documents with hundreds of pages and hundreds of pictures easily. If someone comes and tells, I have a 150 pages document, it must be done in 2 days, there is 60 pictures to put in it, no problem, I can do it. If I don't know how to use InDesign, it will take 2 weeks to make the document. Okay, save the document. So what we'll do here is to link all of these text frames from one pages to the other. After we've linked them, we'll put text in the first page. It will flow to the second page, then to the third. It's a long text we will put in it. Okay. So, you double click on page number 1. On the left bottom corner of the window, it is written, you're seeing now page number 1. Okay? Double click on page number 1. Okay. So, first thing to do is to unlock the text frame. It is locked because it comes from the master on the page 1. We will unlock the text frame. And you do so by using the Control and Shift keys and clicking with the black arrow on the block on the text frame of the first page. Once you've done that, don't change its dimensions. Leave it as is. And don't do that on the other pages too. Don't do unnecessary things. Okay, so Control-Shift-Click on the text frame with columns on the first page. It is still linked with the master, but at least you will be able to put text into it. But before putting text into it, we will link the text frame here with the one which is on the next page. So, you see on the text frame here, you have an entry door, which we will not use because it is the first page. There is no text coming from previous pages. We will use the out door, exit door. Thanks. You click on it with the black arrow, and you have the cursor which changes its appearance. Then, be careful, watch. You will glide over the text frame from page 2 and click, and don't click on the border of the frame. It will create a new text frame. It will be a mess, difficult to solve, difficult to clear. So once you've clicked on the exit door of the first text frame on page 1, you click in the middle of the text frame of page 2, not on the side of the frame. Then you have created a flow of text. There is no text, but the flow is ready to receive the text. You may see the flow by asking InDesign View, Extra, Show Text Threads. When one of the text frame is selected, you see the thread. Don't do the other pages now, we'll do it together. Just link the first 2 pages. Okay, now we will link the text frame on page 2, we will link it to the text frame on page 3, and in the same process, we will link it to page 4. Just watch how it works. I click, not drag and drop as certain of you have done. You just click on the exit door on page 2. You glide over the text frame of page 3, but before clicking, you hit the Alt key. Don't release the Alt key. This is linking several pages at once. Click, click, okay. And if I have 10 more pages, click, 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 with Alt key. And it's fast to link them together. It's just one process. Okay, so you click on the exit door of the text frame on page 2, and with the Alt key, not released, you push the Alt key on the keyboard and you click on all of the other frames in order, of course. So this is all manual. InDesign may be able to create pages for you too, automatically. But here we have done everything manually. Save the document. Okay, instead of copying some text from the internet, we will fill these text frames with false text. So with the text tool, you click in any of these text frames on any page. They are all linked, so the text cursor, the blinking cursor, goes on the first page. Of course, that's the beginning of the text. All of these linked frames, the text inside will be called an article. So inside the InDesign document, you may be several articles in several series of linked frames. That's how magazines are done. Okay, you right-click and you choose Fill with placeholder text. And that's it. You have filled all of the frames with placeholder text. Why the last page is not filled completely, that's a mystery. I don't know. It should have been. Is it? In your document, filled completely, the last page? Okay, that's not really important. Don't try to translate this Latin text. It is really sexual and nasty. No, it is not. It doesn't mean anything. It is false Latin. Just bits of words in Latin meaning nothing. Does anyone have a problem with filling the frames with false text? No? Okay. You put the cursor, the text cursor inside anywhere. You do Control A. So every text is selected on the article. Do you see when you zoom out, the text changes to gray lines? I hate it. You just go in the preferences, edit preferences on the PC, and you go to display performance, and you change here to 0 instead of 7. Okay, and it will work if we close the document and reopen it. I think maybe sometimes it works right away, but now I will just save the document. Okay, close it. Go to File, open Recent, and choose the last document that I've done. That's why you must not give your documents too much long names, because the number will not appear in the menu. Okay, it works. when I zoom out now, there's no the gray lines which appears. It's better. So, for those who haven't seen, it's in Edit, Preference, Display Performance, and in Display Performance you put the grid type below to 0 instead of 7. Okay, there is still a lot of things to do here. I have to tell you about the tags. So, display your document in normal mode, and in the type menu, ask for show hidden characters. And the tags appear. So, maybe with the color you've chosen for the background of your text frames, you don't see clearly the tags. So the thing to do is to go to the Layers panel, double-click on the text layer, and change the way it is displayed. Anyway, you see the end of paragraph tags, and that's really useful to see where a paragraph ends. Everyone see that? These tags? That's the way to use InDesign when you are a professional. You always ask for the hidden characters to be displayed. Okay. Which is the paragraph style used by this text? I will click on any of the text with the text tool, and in the Type Paragraph Styles panel, okay, it seems that it is the right style, body text, but to make sure all of the text uses body text, do Ctrl-A and apply. Okay, it's good. If you have a little cross, you alt-click on the style and it will disappear. You force apply the style to the text. Good. Don't worry about the numbering, which hides some of the text. We will deal with it later. So, 2 more things to do today. It will go fast, not much. Okay. So, we have text, we have paragraph, which are using a paragraph style, which is called body text. Okay, you don't have to, you shouldn't use anymore the character panel and the paragraph panel in order to modify this text. That was before we made the style. Once the style is made, you should use the style and modify it if you want to have the text displayed differently. So don't use the paragraph and character panel. With the black arrow click on the side of the one page, you have no item selected. And double click on the body text style. Here you have all of the features that were in the paragraph and character panels. Simply, they are shown differently. The size, the leading, space between lines, etc. Optical, tracking, etc. So, the thing that I will do here is make sure the paragraph for the reader, obviously look, the reader that will see our document will have an idea of the structure of the document. I will add space between the paragraphs. So you go in indents and spacing, and you check preview, and you add space after. So you see what's happening. All of the paragraphs, you're modifying now the space after So you see the difference. In one look at the document, you see all the paragraphs clearly distinct, discrete paragraphs. Okay? If you want, you can make the first line go a little further to the right. First line of each paragraph. The first line indent here. So, in order to make for the reader the paragraphs appear clearly, either you add space after, either you make an indent for the first line, or both. You choose. Click OK. You have modified the style of the whole document, even hundreds of pages, easily just by modifying the style used by the document. Okay, I just show you here in the paragraph panel that the feature we used in the style, you find that feature here in the paragraph panel, the space after, and the indent here. We haven't modified that before making the style, before creating the style. We could have modified these features just before creating the style. We didn't. We have done it afterward.